Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, hope you're doing well. Today I thought we'd jump into another little used car market update. Things are changing quite quickly at the moment. We've already done a video on this where we're saying that the market has done its biggest drop in the last 12 years. That was in October of this year, last month. It's done it exactly the same again in November. Another 4.2% down, so 8.2% in the last 2 months. Values are absolutely tanking. Is this a big dramatic used car market crash? Or is it just a bit of a correction, bringing things back to normality after the COVID pandemic and getting back to a normal way of life? Let's get into it and find out. So I'm going to head to my favourite source as always for car related news, which is cardealermagazine.co.uk. We've got this article where the founder of Car Dealer Magazine, James Baggett, has been talking to Mark Bulmer of Cap HBI, who are a valuation service. Current auction price is what it stands for, and they keep a record of all the cars that are selling, how they're selling, how much for, etc. And that's how we get our valuations. So the article is titled Used Car Price Correction Continues with Trade Values Falling 4.2% again in November. Used car prices have now fallen 8.4% in 2 months according to the trade price experts. Prices have dropped nearly 18% since April as buyer demand slows. So the article goes on to say that they've had a discussion with Mark Bulmer, who has revealed the latest drop for cars at the 3-year 60,000 mile mark. Goes on to say they've now plummeted 8.4% in the last 2 months alone, equivalent to an average drop of £1,625. Now, that might not sound like a huge amount on a 3-year-old car, but imagine you're a car dealer and you've got 50 of those cars. Well, it soon adds up, doesn't it? That's going to have hit you to the tune of about £80,000, doesn't it? So you can see why this is obviously a bigger deal for car dealers than it is for car consumers. Interestingly, he goes on and says, Cap HBI says it's important to point out that petrol and diesel used cars remain around 15% above where they were at the start of 2021. So like I was saying, post-pandemic, prices went absolutely crazy. Demand outstripped supply, prices went up. And now this is what we're talking about with this correction, bringing things back to perhaps where they ought to be, even if it is still above, but a market adjusted new normal where cars naturally would depreciate slowly over time, which is what we would have been used to before the crazy boom. Very interestingly though, electric vehicles, however, have dropped 20% from the same point in 2021. Bulmer goes on to say, it's been a very testing month for everybody. There's no change from what we were seeing 4 or 5 weeks ago. Values are under pressure. There are plenty of cars in the market and not enough people to buy them, so the balance between supply and demand is definitely in the favour of the buyer. It's really interesting to hear how everyone's getting on at the moment in the dealer world. A lot of people are definitely feeling the pinch. They're saying things are slowing down, they're not able to sell, their stock's dropping in values. Perhaps I'm a bit of an outlier, but we have had 2 of the best months we've ever had. So I can't go on record and say that things are absolutely awful or that cars just aren't selling, that no one's buying cars, because it's simply not the case. We've sold more than we ever have, but I guess we are conveniently placed in that 5 to 15, £20,000 price band where people are moving perhaps from further up in spending averages and coming down into our price bracket. So we're well priced somewhere in the low to mid-range value. And to add to that, Cap HBI said in an editorial to dealers that it's not uncommon to see large drops in November, with 3.1% recorded in 2014 and 3% in 2020. Car dealers are not stocking up and many dealer groups are on buying bans until the market settles. I guess that makes sense when you're buying thousands of vehicles, but for me, it's business as usual. I just want to ignore the fact that people are talking about a recession, about the values dropping. Now, that might seem naive, but I always go back to the example of when the first lockdown came around and I, like everyone else, was panicking, didn't want to spend any money, didn't want any stock, just wanted to see what would happen. But some dealers held their nerve and they were buying cars at rock bottom prices because they simply didn't have any competition and the sellers wanted rid of their stock. They needed cash and they absolutely had it away, made absolutely stacks of money. And I wish I had held my nerve in that regard and I didn't. So in this example, I'm not going to play it safe. I'm going to go all out for it and I'm just going to keep trading. And I think there is a notion, which I really like, which is to just opt out. I think you can talk yourself into it. If you think, you know, it's a recession and things are awful and you shouldn't be spending money, well, you won't spend money and you won't make money and you will end up in a recession-like situation. That said, it is a very interesting market at the moment. Electric vehicles definitely not selling well. Big diesel vehicles obviously selling if they're not ULEZ compliant. Buyers holding off perhaps because they think the values are going to drop and they can get a deal perhaps better next year. It is all up in the air, but I'm just going to keep continuing to do what I do. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're on Facebook, Instagram or TikTok, you can follow me there. Check out my website, shiftingmetal.co.uk, where you can find discount codes for all of our sponsors, as well as some of my merchandise. And putting my money where my mouth is, if you are looking to sell your car, make sure you check out our website, carsboughtformore.com. We've got a whole new valuation system on there. You should be able to get an instant valuation for your car because I would like to buy it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.